just cut in. I'm on that YouTube, and the sound cut in for just a moment.
Hold on one second, Mr. P. We're about to have it up. All right, we're live on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for everyone that is tuning in. We will get started in just a moment. We're also going to get us live on Facebook as well. To go to our Facebook, just make sure you go live from Elgin Bokhari's YouTube Facebook page, and feel free to share that. Thank you for everybody that's joining in. We're just giving some folks a little bit of time to join into our stream for today. My name is Elgin Bokhari. I'm sitting here with Bill Perry. We're really excited about joining you all and talking about beauty, strength, and courage.
For today, my name is Elgin Bokhari. I'm sitting here with Bill Perry.
Hang on out. Thank you all so much for joining in. We have some amazing, amazing work for you. In the meantime, you all can check out the gallery.
Yeah.
We are now officially live on Facebook. Get started in about 5 minutes. Enjoy the gallery. Perry, make sure you mute the sound on your computer. Well, mute the sound of wherever you're watching the stream. We're about to get started in just a moment. Thank you all so much for listening to and being a part of Beauty, Strength, and Courage. 27 portraits of immigrant women living in St. Louis, Missouri. I will be one of your co-hosts today. My name is DJ Elokari, representing Free Right Arts and Literacy.
What is it, honey? Yeah. And go ahead and take it to YouTube. It's a YouTube. Just trying to stay in touch with Elton.
We will get started right after this track. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Beauty, Strength, and Courage. This show has been a long time coming. My name is DJ Elokari, and right now we are live with Bill Perry. How you doing, Mr. Perry?
I'm doing very well, Elton.
I'm so excited to be here today. For some of you all that don't know, I'm actually a former student of Bill Perry. Back when I was a whippersnapper in the old building for Central Visual and Performing Arts High School. I probably would not be doing half of the things that I'm doing today if it was not for Bill Perry. So it is such an honor to be able to see this amazing gallery of work that this man has been putting on. So if you have not got a chance to check out the website, you most definitely should. Today we're going to be checking out 5 different stories by amazing women from St. Louis. And the rest of the stories, they're all going to be on the website. Make sure you just go there and check out the rest of the website. If you go check out our link tree, molecule form, you will find all these amazing portraits and read all these amazing stories. So first off, I just want to congratulate Mr. Perry. Mr. Bill, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I'm happy to see this happening.
I am as well. So I guess let's start this off a little bit. Where did you come up with the concept to do Beauty, Strength, and Courage?
I had finished a bunch of projects that I was doing, and I wanted to do a series of large portraits, and a very good friend, suggested that I do portraits of immigrant women. It was my friend Eric Blackerby's idea, and it was a brilliant idea because everybody I spoke to about it loved it because it's so meaningful and purposeful. And I was able to get a gallery right away, first shot, and I was able to get a grant to cover the cost of it within a few months.
Grants
of
are
actually
extremely important.
Suggesting. And then the next 2 years, I spent painting these portraits and finding people to be portrayed. That was a big issue. Was making sure that finding women who were willing to be in the show. I discovered. Go ahead. Did you have something to say there?
No, I was going to say that all of these portraits are gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you.
They are all
Yeah.
beautiful. Each one of these women. And when we were first approached with possibly working on this project a little bit together, the first thing that I was saying is I would love to hear some of these women's stories. So I guess one of the questions that I have right off the bat as well, and congratulations on getting the grant as well, because I mean, first off, if anyone had to go for grants, it is not an easy feat. So kudos to you to be able to get those funds to make this happen. Because it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous work. What was the process like for you trying to get all these different types of stories from women? Like, was there any hesitation? What was that process like for you?
Well, there was hesitation. There was hesitation. Not everybody, surprisingly to me, wants their picture painted. And once I had all the pictures done, I really just had to chase these ladies down. And I worked through the immigrant service organizations were enormously helpful. They're just beautiful people. They do all of this stuff. They're not well paid. They have a lot of work to do, and they just do it out of love. I was humbled by the service to humanity that the immigrant service organizations showed. It was very beautiful. And then when trying to get the stories was another question. And the immigrant service organizations really chased that part down for me a lot also. They put me in touch with the women, and I, emailed them and said, can you tell me your story? I made up a questionnaire for them to answer all this stuff. And I got some lovely tales of overcoming obstacles and surmounting difficulties over a long period of time. These are people who worked very hard for a very long period of time to get where they are, and it's admirable.
Mr. Perry, I have to say as well, one thing that really strikes me about the paintings that I've been seeing is all these women are all different. Everyone has like their own unique personality. Everyone has a shine. And then it comes up to the question, well, who deserves to be painted, right? When you think of amazing paintings, you think about the Mona Lisa. You think about paintings that go up in art museums and all this other kind of stuff. And when I see these women, I see diversity. I see warmth. I like all the strength that you came in with the colors. All these women are pretty also normal, everyday looking women as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. That was part of the idea, was to do a series of portraits that weren't famous people, that weren't well-known people, that people who are struggling and people who often are maligned for no reason, who get the short end of the stick just because they are who they are. And I wanted to honor them and honor the work and effort and love that they put forth.
So, Mr. Perry, why St. Louis? Because it looked like when I first saw this project, I was wondering if there were women from all over. But being that we're both from St. Louis, I'm actually currently drinking a goody mug, which is from my favorite restaurant that is now burnt down in St. Louis. It's a breakfast spot called Goody Goody. It's off of Natural Bridge and what was across the street? In Goodfella. But it was my favorite place to eat, and I had to make sure that I had this mug ready to go. But why women in St. Louis?
Well, I live in St. Louis. That helps. But also, St. Louis has this long history of welcoming immigrants. Not that long, really, from about the mid-50s. The federal government started to offer stipends to cities to settle immigrants, because there were wars going on all the time, all over the world. And there are always refugees, and the UN and the United States government do a huge amount, more than you would realize, to help these refugees. And part of that is finding a place to live. And St. Louis, is not a wealthy city. And so it jumped on this stipend business, so the city got a bunch of money for every refugee they settled. And this turned into a very positive thing. because, the refugees themselves are very hardworking, very ambitious, very dedicated people. They have to be just to get here. And the stipend thing actually ran out after a while, but the city continued to be known as a place that welcomes refugees. A lot of this also has to do with the International Institute, which is the biggest refugee agency in St. Louis, and they reach out really all over the world. They work with the US government, they work with the UN, and a lot of the women you see here were brought here under the auspices of the International Institute. So the city has a lot of stuff in place to support and welcome refugees. It's a very good place for this kind of a show.
This is excellent. Thank you so much for this work. And we will ask more questions as we continue on. But first, it looks like we have our first story that we're going to actually show today. And I believe that is read by someone that is very close to you. So would you like to introduce Nimlik and Wapi for our first story?
Great. I introduce?
Yes, please.
Okay. Nyang and her two daughters, Nemlek and Guapi, are from Burma. And you'll hear all that when it's read. They went through an awful lot. The story that's on the web is actually edited way down, because they went through a lot of suffering. They went through near starvation. They traveled thousands of miles by foot and by car. They had to hide from the Myanmar military police the entire way till they got out of Asia and came to the United States. So they went through a lot, and they are very admirable people.
Right on. So first, enjoy this first story read by, who is this read by?
Denise Chisako Melimai Perry, a native Hawaiian person of my acquaintance.
All right now. All right. Enjoy our first story. Thank you guys so much for checking in.
Nyang, Nemlek, and Boapi from Burma, Myanmar. In 2009, Nyang and her two daughters, Nemlek and Boapi, immigrated to the United States seeking religious freedom, better education, and economic opportunity. Leaving behind loved ones and fleeing to Malaysia to avoid the Burmese military police was not easy. However, risking their lives to escape was necessary for them to have better living conditions and educational opportunities from Nemlek and Boapi. Entering Malaysia undocumented, Nyang's family constantly hid and avoided authorities. While waiting to join the United Nations High Commission for Refugees Resettlement Program in Malaysia, Nyang had to find harsh, low-paid jobs to pay for housing, meals, and other basic necessities. For their own safety, Nemlek and Boapi had to stay at home. They missed the opportunity to attend school and receive a proper education. Fortunately, several months after their arrival in Malaysia, Nyang's family was able to join the resettlement program. However, there were many interviews and required documents throughout the process of finding a new place to live. This process was exacerbated because they did not speak English or Malay. After months of waiting, the program randomly selected the country in which Nyang's family would resettle. Settling in a different country with a different culture and language was not easy. There were many people who helped Nyang's family. However, two individuals who worked with the Burmese community and the church which Nyang's family attended helped them. They not only taught Nyang's family English, but also helped them to adapt, assimilate, and understand the new culture. When Nyang's family started this journey, They did not know where they would end up. One thing they knew for sure was that they had to leave Burma to find better living conditions, to find freedom, and to pursue the education and economic opportunities that were stripped away by the military junta. These were what they sought for and are currently able to receive in the United States, are able to freely express their worship and religion of Jesus Christ. Nemlek and Wapi have had the opportunity to obtain a quality education and are currently first-generation college students. Nemlek is a rising senior at George Washington University, majoring in biology. She is passionate about serving the community, specifically the Burmese refugee and immigrant community, and promoting research and health equity. After college, Nemlek hopes to pursue a career in medicine. Wapi is a rising sophomore at Knox College, majoring in computer science and environmental science. She is passionate about bringing about awareness of climate change and hopes to positively impact the community through serving the community's needs. Wapi is a rising sophomore at Knox College, majoring in computer science and environmental science.
Mr. Perry.
She's passionate about bringing about awareness of climate
We're back.
change and hopes to positively impact the community through serving the community's needs.
So Mr. Perry's actually watching along going on his page as well. So shout outs again. Thank you so much for that first story. Mr. P. Mr. Perry, you there?
I am here.
There you go. We're back. Thank you so much for that first story. How did it feel to hear that one back for the first time?
It's beautiful. What was left out of the story is that Nemlek and Wapi, who came here knowing no English at all, within 2 years had both received full scholarships to a really excellent private school in St. Louis.
Oh my God!
And they both received full scholarship to college. So they're very remarkable people.
Man, this was such an amazing story, and I thought it was so fitting to have the first person being read by someone who spends the most time with you. It's just something about Mrs. Perry's voice that is so soothing, and to hear that story of this mother, and you have 2 children as well too, Mr. Perry, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so it's like something about her voice is such a nurturing type of energy to that story, and I hope that as Nemlek and Wapi get an opportunity to rewatch this back, that they will also feel that pride as well, and hope that she did the story justice. So just as a small soft reminder to those who are tuning in and wondering why some of these stories are being read and these people are not saying these stories out loud, is because some of those are not comfortable with their reading their stories, or their English is not up to par and they don't feel comfortable with that. So instead we had some of our friends step in to be a part of the action. But for our next story, I'm actually very proud to say that we actually do have the next painting. Her name is Irene, and she's going to be actually reading off her story. It took us a while, but we finally got it, and she is going to be reading her next story. Mr. Perry, would you like to introduce this next one?
Yeah, Irene is a friend of a friend. She's in a program at Washington University. She is both a student and a high-level employee at Washington University. She's a remarkably active, energetic person. I have not met her myself, but I was amazed by her story.
So yes, coming up for the next story, please make a little bit of noise and then bring your energy to Irene.
Hi, I'm Irene Taranike. I am very thankful and feel honored to be a part of this process. I will say this journey has been therapeutic for me and grounding and reminding me of the journey and why I'm here. So I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. It was always my dream to become a doctor, a passion ignited by experiences of loved ones whose life shaped me. At 10, I witnessed my grandfather passing away from a stroke. He also suffered from diabetes. During the same time, my little sister, born with a cleft lip, full-blown eczema, and asthma, was perpetually in and out of hospital. A few years later, Mom fell ill. I had to assume parental responsibilities. It was all remarkably impactful and life-changing. I began to channel all my energy into school and sports. It was my solace and my ticket to pursuing my passion. At 18, I came to America for the first time on a 10-day field hockey tour. Before I left, Mom spent the night in my room talking with me. But I was too excited to give her full attention. Our unplanned last memory. She passed away unannounced the day I was flying back. Not even a chance to say goodbye. Let's just say my world came to a screeching halt. I was in the midst of applying to college. Submerged in grief, I simply couldn't fathom leaving my little sister. I was stuck. Who would be there for her if I left? The college application deadlines rolled by, but I continued with the sports. It was and still is my anchor. I came alive. Then, unexpectedly, my coach told me a college in St. Charles, Missouri had an opportunity for field hockey players. St. Charles, Missouri? Where's that? He encouraged me to consider it. Again, who would take care of my little sister? Eventually, an uncle said to me, "It would honor your mom if you pursued your dreams. Besides, you have a better chance of taking care of her then." Within 6 weeks, I landed in America, a mere 3 months after my mom's death. Talk about double turning my world upside down. It would honor your mom if you pursued your dreams. Drives every single aspect of my life in America. She is the heartbeat of everything I do. I have since received my bachelor's in pre-med from Lindenwood University and master's in public health from Washington University in St. Louis. Currently, I serve as a chronic disease program coordinator focused on diabetes, heart disease, and stroke prevention and management. Our efforts are focused on serving the Promise Zone in St. Louis, namely North County and North City. This is a high poverty community where the federal government partners with the local leaders to increase economic activity, improve educational outcomes, leverage private investment, reduce violent crime, enhance public health, and serve other priorities identified by the community. Our work is driven by the pillars of health equity, racial equity, mental health, and trauma. I love this work. It is right at the intersection of my passion and purpose. It doesn't end here though. I was nominated and accepted to be a 2020 New Leaders Council Fellow. With exposure, I have seen and experienced personally the realness of health and racial systemic disparities. I aspire to influence change that affords equitable access, opportunity, and quality of life to our high burden communities. I'm also a field hockey coach and still play at any opportunity I get. It is my absolute joy to pour into these goals the same way I was poured into. There is much I learned from sports, skills not taught in the classroom. I never imagined field hockey would be the pathway to realizing my dreams. I revel in seeing the athletes push and step into their potential. You just never know. I also sit on the board of Sherwood Forest Camp, serving children from low-income and underserved communities who otherwise do not have access or opportunity to explore and realize and self-realize. Every kid deserves a shot at being his or her best self.
Wow. It is so great. Man, it's just something so rewarding about seeing a woman speak her own truth, you know? I'm gonna unmute Mr. Perry so he can talk with us. Mr. Perry, that was amazing. How you feel about that?
Really amazing. Yeah, really.
I mean,
All that she's done. It's just I mean, she came from this very difficult situation. Look what she's done.
you know, I was just when I saw the field hockey story as well, I'm just like, oh wow, she did field hockey as well. I mean, like, what don't you do? One thing I wanted to point out too, Mr. Perry, is your keen ability to paint women of color.
Well,
It's almost
like the picture, you know.
You know, it's almost like you work with a lot of youth of color.
You would think, wouldn't you? It's like I've been working with youth of color all my life. It's almost like that.
Fun story. My oldest sister is she would not let me tell her real age, but let's just say it's a lot older than me, and I'm 33. And when she went to high school, Mr. Perry was, I think, probably just starting his career as an artist instructor. If you see the cameo behind me, that's my cat Billy. She likes to hang out and all this other kind of stuff. Mr. Perry, how long have you been teaching youth of color?
44 years.
Oh my goodness. Do you know how many kids you helped put through college at this point?
No, I don't.
That's the work. I had the privilege of being able to go and do a quick artist talk at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School, and I was very surprised and not surprised that the same energy that I felt when I was in high school was still prevalent when I came to visit. So
that's really nice. Yeah.
And I just think that comes from your keen ability to be able to work with people, and especially young African American youth, and keep them on the right path. But yeah, her portrait, Irene's portrait, is so gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
And seeing her live as well, like when we got a chance to shoot this, I was just like, oh man, like, one, you look just like your portrait. Two, skin is flawless, and has an amazing personality. I'm just really, and like even the garment and everything that the way that you were able to paint everything just really shined through.
The dress was a bear, I'll tell you. The dress was work.
I bet. It looks like it's so much detail. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this in without having Irene have to repeat herself, because she's also saying her story. But my goodness, wait, I think I figured it out. But let's just take a look at this painting one more time. Wow. Like all the detail in this work, from the skin to the highlights to all the texture in the garb, it's lovely. The earrings, the highlights in the earrings. I mean, hey, if you're wondering where Elgin's art skills came from, it's from this man right here and a bunch of other people. But this is lovely.
That's very kind of you.
This was you said that, and all the women that we are showing today, these were all your favorites, correct? These are some of your favorites out of the bunch, right?
Yeah.
These are gorgeous. And if you all want to continue to read any of these stories that you've heard before, then please go check out the website. There are more and more stories. 27, and actually today is the 27th. So this was originally supposed to be last week, but it's like, you know what? It's 27 portraits. Let's do this on September 27th. So 8/27. Let's go. All right. So Mr. Perry, we have another story that's coming up. This one is done. Her name is Scarlett, and she has a friend here that they call the baby. Tell us a little bit about this one before we introduce this.
This is the adopted daughter of some very good friends of ours. She's a lovely, energetic. She's Native American. She's Maya Indian from Guatemala. She's strong, and I don't know. When she was 13, she was already had a job working with horses. So yeah, she's a beautiful kid.
All right, so check out this next story called Being Told by Scarlett and the Baby. And I believe that this one is read by someone that's close to me, my partner, girlfriend. Her name is Dambi Kim. I hope you all really enjoy this one. I think she has a nice reading voice. So enjoy this story of Scarlett.
Scarlett from Guatemala, read by Dambi Kim.
When she was 13, she was already had a job working with
I was
horses.
born to a young Mayan girl in the small village of Antigua, Guatemala. My Guatemalan mother was alone and poor, with no one to turn to. She had to make the difficult decision to let her child go. Adoption was the only way for me to live a normal, happy life. Meanwhile, in the US, the couple who were to be my American parents were saddened because they had been unable to conceive a child of their own. One day, they were looking at adoptions and a small child caught their eye. When they saw my picture, it was love at first sight, and they flew to Guatemala as soon as possible to see me. The adoption process from Guatemala was long and rough. But in 2007, after months of waiting and some sickness, I was finally theirs and able to come home. Of course, I had no idea what was in store for me. As it turned out, what awaited me was a community of love and warmth. I grew up a happy child in St. Louis. I had a youth of gold, with many friends and a close and loving family. My mother introduced me to horseback riding at the tender age of 2, and I have loved horses ever since. But I have never forgotten my roots, the home of my birth. I have gone back to Guatemala several times. I love it. It is a part of who I am. I intend to go back in the future and throughout my life. I came to the USA in 2007. Now here I am, a freshman in high school, planning to go to college. And as I walk through life, I will always hold my head up high, proud to be a child of Guatemala.
Wow. I just have to give a little bit of love and respect to our readers. I mean, first off, I just want to say thank you for Dambi as well as everyone else who has read so far. These stories have been amazing and transformative, and all of the energy that people have been bringing to these stories have just kind of really resonated with me. Mr. Perry, how you feeling? Here, we should be able to hear you now. How you feeling, Mr. P?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
This story was really amazing to read, and
thank you for Dambi as well as everyone.
hold on a second, Mr. P. We gotta turn my other voice down. There we go. This story was so fun to read, and honestly, if you go to the website, you will be able to read, continuously read these stories in the way and the fashion that they were been told. Also, we'll make sure that this podcast as well as this stream is available later on for you all to continue to read if you want to continue to experience these stories in this fashion. So we'll find a way to make sure that if you want to continue to listen to these stories, or if you want to be a reader for one of these stories in the future, then let us know. We want this project to continue to grow and do amazing work. How you feeling though, Mr. Perry? What'd you think about hearing that story for the first time?
It was gorgeous. It was just gorgeous. Yeah.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. You've had a tell us a little bit about the process for this particular painting. I think this is the only one that has like an animal in it as well.
Well, this kid loves those horses, you know. She loves horses so much. I knew I had to put a horse in the painting. This is actually the second version of her portrait. The first version just did not work out. It's not the first one that happened to. A couple of them, I get part way in and it wouldn't look like what I was trying to do. And this was very much that way. I actually just got a whole new canvas, started from scratch and did this. So I'm happy with this. It shows the sweetness and energy that this kid carries.
What was the process like for having to restart? Because I know you've done this one for also Sabrina's, I think, as well.
Yeah, Sabina's, right.
Sabina's, yeah.
Well, you just start and you just do it. I mean, there's no big emotional thing, you know, you have to do it, so you do it. You just grind through. It's not, you're just trying to pay attention and make sure you don't do the things that you screwed up on last time. And it's just work. Painting is work, you know that, and it's you grind your way through it. You know, that whole thing about it being 90% perspiration. I'd say it's way more than that. I'd say it's mostly work, and the inspiration creates the framework, but it's just work, you know, like any work. So nothing special.
What do you tell, especially like your students who have started painting? Let's say that they've already mulled through their first one, and they're like, no, you know, I did it once, I'm not gonna do it again, this is enough, and they tear it up. I remember many times getting yelled at for tearing up artwork. What are some of the things that you would tell some of your students when they're in that state where they don't want to, where they're done with their piece and they don't want to retry?
You have to say what I just said. You know, you don't expect, inspiration is not the heart of it. The willingness to put in the labor is what really makes a piece good. So if you're not willing to put in that time, if you're not willing to put in that grind, if you expect it always to be what you feel like doing, which it isn't most of the time, then you're in the wrong place. You should be doing something else, you know, do something easier, because it's not, particular art is not easy. It's you grind away and you work things down and you redo and you adjust until you get it right. And it takes a long time. Every one of these paintings took about a month.
Wow.
A little less than a month for some of them. One or two of them I got out in 2 weeks, but that's 2 weeks, 4 hours a day, every day. So it's a lot of effort for this and you just have to tell kids, and most kids don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they have to work, but somebody's got to tell them that.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I hear you drop a gem, I have to be like, just to let people know. And plus, if you don't put in that work, sometimes you don't get beautiful pieces like this.
That's right. That's it right there. That's how you get the good stuff, is by slaving away.
Yeah. Sometimes you make the second time around. When you get the round two. Sometimes the second time around is even better than the first time around. I'm pretty sure the first version was just as beautiful, but this version as well is gorgeous. Thank you so much for dedicating that. And if you guys, I don't know if y'all heard that, but that was a month that goes into each one of these paintings. Not only did he do one, but he also pursued and did 27, which means it was more like 29. So that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, and sometimes art is a thankless job, but honestly, if you put that time and dedication into it, absolutely it'll look exactly the way that you're looking for. Thank you again one more time, man. Make a little bit of noise and give this man his flowers, Mr. Perry. So, Mr. P, in order to get this done, you had to work with a couple of other people. We have a man by the name of Michael Ramsey, who's about to introduce himself.
Oh, yeah. Remarkable guy. He works with kids. He works with immigrant youth. Mm-hmm. And the way that he works with them is by introducing them to the arts, to mostly the performing arts. And this gives them a focus, and it gives them fellowship with one another. And it gives them a strong self-image, because, you know, the arts do that. If you do it right, they do that. And I admire this guy tremendously. He's a very hardworking guy and a very kind and nourishing person.
Awesome. So yeah, we're about to meet Michael Ramsey. Is he an instructor at the Central Vision Performing Arts as well?
No. The Revival School for the Arts is his own gig.
Awesome.
He founded it. He does it.
All right. So we're about to meet Michael Ramsey, and he will be introducing our first performer. First performance that we will be seeing today, and then we'll also meet our next fellow, our next painting by a young lady by the name of Coco. But in due time, here's Michael Ramsey.
Hi, I'm Mike Ramsey from Revival School. I'm standing in front of the International Institute of St. Louis, and this is like St. Louis Statue of Liberty. This is where we welcome refugees from all over the world. And Revival School complements the good work of the Institute by fostering the creativity of refugee students, by connecting them to resources, by giving them a stage to share their home culture, and by forming a collaborative community they can be a part of. I just want to thank you, Bill, for being a part of this show, for including us and our students on your beautiful portraits. And Revival School is honored to be a part of this show. And I'm introducing a video of one of our students, Coco, Claudia Nkurunziza, who came here from a camp in Burundi in 2015. And she's originally from Congo. And then she is also singing with a band, a Congolese band, led by Jacob Shako, who's a brilliant songwriter from Goma. And his family also came here around 2016, I guess. And he's been writing songs in Swahili and English, and has been part of the Institute's Festival of Nations for the last 2 years. You could see his video online this last August at their Festival of Nations that was online. All right, thank you for being for including Revival School in this show, and God bless you guys. Bye.
Nigga,
Now, the story of Coco, being read by Roger Bonet Agard.
Coco, Democratic Republic of Congo, read by Roger Bonet-Agard. I was born in 2002 in Bujumbura, Burundi, where my family lived as refugees. We moved into a refugee camp in 2007 because it wasn't safe for my family in the city. In the camp, every time my friends and I saw white people, we would follow them around laughing and shouting, Muzungu, Muzungu. Muzungu means white people in African language. They were mostly UNHCR staff and from other NGOs. They would come for parties every Mother's Day or meetings about the refugee situation. Some of my favorite memories from the camp were of spending New Year's with my friends. We would walk around the camp the whole night until midnight. People would be dancing, singing, playing outside. I also loved it when we made a fire and someone who could play a guitar would come and we'd sing for hours. In the camp, it was difficult to get water. Sometimes people fought over the water. Sometimes there wouldn't be water for days, so we would have to walk far to the mountain spring. In the camp, they gave us fufu, beans, oil, and soap. My parents were lucky enough to have jobs, so they were able to buy vegetables and other things to eat. When we were going to come to the US, we thought everything would be perfect and we would have a really beautiful house. We were surprised by the apartment they brought us to. It was old and not in a nice area. But we have a big family and everyone had jobs, so we all worked and saved money and moved to a better apartment as soon as we could. When we first came, we were surprised that we could get a lot more food than in the camp. We were so happy to have milk to drink. Our people, the Banyamulenge, love cows and we love milk. Our caseworker from the Institute helped us with everything. After about 2 months, I had to start school. It was scary because I didn't speak English, but a lot of kids who spoke much helped me at school. Sonia, my sister, was in high school there too. I couldn't understand anything at first because we spoke in French in my school in Burundi. I spoke Kinyamulenge at home with my family and we spoke Swahili with friends and in the market. Within a few months, I could understand everything they were saying in English. I only stayed at that school 1 year, then went to an art school. I get to work on dance every day and learn ballet, jazz, modern, and hip hop. I love to dance and I love fashion, math and English classes, and I'm continuing to learn French. I love good books and movies. I want to go to university next year and explore different careers.
Make a little noise for Coco. Wow, man. You know, when we first talked about this, I wasn't sure what this was going to end up looking like. But I am truly proud to be a part of this event. Mr. Perry, how did it feel to see the presentation of Coco?
Wonderful. Yeah. Interestingly enough, she went to the school where I teach and where you attended. And I never got to know her because she was in a different department. But that surprised me when she said she went to an art school with dance, and we're the only art school in St. Louis with dance.
Yeah. Shout outs to Ray Park.
I probably saw this kid in the halls of the school a dozen times, but I didn't recognize her when I did the painting.
Shout outs to Michael Ramsey and the Revival School. They're going to get a couple of shout out horns for sending us the videos because, you know, when we originally started talking about this, we were like, well, it'd be nice to get a performance or something like that. So once we finally got back the performances, I was like, wait a minute, is that Coco in the video? And it was like, yeah, I think that's Coco performing. I was like, oh, well, we most definitely got to have them perform now. So I just think it added a lot to just hearing her story and also being able to see her perform. This young lady's portrait is also gorgeous, Mr. Perry. Another one that, like, I think truly captures the essence of who she is as a person. I love the colors. I love the green background. Everything just kind of feels, faded into each other. I even like the soft touches of just the shading down from the bottom of her lower half going up to just filling out all the brightness that comes out earlier. The use of brown in the braids, like it's perfect. Great job. Tell us a little bit about your process with this one.
Michael Ramsey actually critiqued this painting really heavily. Yeah. And I went in and did everything he said to do. So
yes.
Yeah.
What was some of his feedback?
He didn't like the way I did the hair. He insisted on the braids. I had the hair just solid. 'Cause in the photo, you did not see the braids that clearly. So I, photoshopped way up, and so I could really see where the braids were, and that was part of it. That was the big part. And he kept saying, there's something about it that doesn't look like her, and I felt like saying, "Oh, shut up." I can't work with that,
Well, whatever Mr. Ramsey said worked, because sometimes you gotta take that critique just a little bit. But he got it in order, because I mean, as soon as Coco popped up on the screen later on, I was like, that girl is Coco. So whatever it is that you readjusted, fixed, it most definitely worked. So great job one more time for Mr. Perry. This is beautiful work. Very, very beautiful work. And I mean, is this your first time seeing Coco perform as well, Mr. P?
No, I saw her perform live. I go to Mike's shows when they could do shows.
Mm-hmm.
He would have like these fundraising dinners, and the kids would do a show. So yeah, I saw her sing before.
What was it like to experience that type of program live?
It was beautiful. It made me. That was actually when I was looking for somebody to paint. That was. And I was introduced to Coco personally, and I thought, well, I'll just ask her personally if I can, instead of doing it through email or through the agency and all that stuff. So she was very, very shy and very embarrassed by her English and all that stuff. And but she did it, and I'm happy. But it was I was impressed that I was surprised that this beautiful girl with so much presence on stage was really very shy in person.
And it's remarkable too. Like I kind of saw the same thing as well. I was like, seeing this young person, it's describing herself being so shy and so reserved, but then this elude of confidence that shows through when you're performing. It's really interesting too. Like a lot of people say about, especially like someone like Michael Jackson, who was extremely shy and reserved on his own, but as soon as he hit that stage, it just became a whole nother person. And I wonder if that is something that's prevalent with also with Coco as well. I will mention that this is the only time we had a male actually read the story for one of our readers, and we kind of struggle whether or not we would want him to read this from third person or just read the story directly. But it was something so powerful just hearing his words come out to tell the story about such a courageous woman in the first place. So it was like, let's please just leave it the way that it is. And I have to thank Roger for lending his voice for this story, because he read that with very much pride as well. So shout outs to Roger, and thank you so much, Coco, and all the other mentors who've been working with this amazing young lady in bringing out that smile. So one more time for Coco. All right, Mr. P, we're about almost we're a quarter of the way. We're getting down to the last couple of stories. How you feeling so far?
Good, yeah. It's very beautiful to see these.
So we have someone from Brazil that we're about to present a story about.
Oh, really?
Yes. Read by a good friend of mine by the name of Margot Sky. Tell us a little bit about this story.
Well, she was almost the last person I painted, and I hadn't gotten anybody from South America yet, and so I contacted her through a mutual friend. She didn't speak any English at all to speak of. She was embarrassed about her English because she only spoke in Portuguese. But the photos she sent, well, actually, she didn't send photos. Actually, she sent some photos that were terrible resolution. And when I blew them up, I have to blow these things up almost life size to get a decent image that I can work with. And when I, a low resolution image, you blow it up and it's just a bunch of pixels.
Yeah.
And so I went over to her house. I talked to her daughter. She said, well, she'll be home at such and such a time. And it was really, you can't tell what her age is at all. She's this ageless person, but she's a grandmother. And, yeah.
I didn't. Whoa. Okay, hold on.
Isn't that something?
Okay, so hold on. When you guys see the picture, when you all see this photo, you would know. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Anyway, and so her granddaughter translated, and we tried to use Google Translate on the phone. It just didn't work out. Her granddaughter translated for us, and this lady is just a natural model. We were talking about how, what kind of a picture I wanted, what kind of an angle I wanted, how the light was. We were standing under some trees, so we had to, move to where the light was good. But it was just charming. She was posing and posing and, trying out this and trying out that. And I was just sitting there shooting and shooting and shooting. And I went through, 25 pictures, and every one of them was good because she has this real sense of what looks good. She's a very artistic person. And I don't know if that's Brazilian trait or not, but anyway, she was just absolutely charming person to work with. And it shows in the picture, and also she's the only one who didn't tell the story of her life. She just made up a bunch of poetry, and I really like that.
Right on. So I think it's even more appropriate that we got someone named like Margot to read this. Here's a funny coincidence. Actually, Margot was the second to the last person that we actually got to record. So very similarly. And Margot's also a singer. So we are about to share the story of Rogeria.
Right.
Yes.
Rogeria. Yeah.
So I hope you all enjoy. This is the story of Rogeria.
Rogeria from Brazil, read by Margot Sky. Here we are, women who represent the beauty of the feminine in our human family. This encounter reveals, in each painting, our unique essence of being a woman and her mysteries. Life is indeed a leap. No matter how far we live and die, we are equal. We can generate life, and each different life has its unique beauty in its entirety, each with its own life story. I am Rogeria, Brazilian. I have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. I love life. I believe in God. I am moved by my faith. I have lived here in the United States for 2 years with my daughter and her family. I am learning to speak English. I want to take an art course and explore the natural wonders of St. Louis. Congratulations to all the beautiful women who made this fantastic encounter possible. We continue together on the horizon of art and its greatness to reinvent infinitely. While our hearts beat, we can feel and appreciate even what our eyes do not see, because life is inside out now.
Short and sweet and to the point. Thank you so much, Margot, for reading that story.
Art and its greatness to reinvent infinitely.
Oh, Miss Perry's still listening.
Hearts beat, we can feel and appreciate even what our eyes do not see.
I'm gonna mute him. All right. So one more time. How you doing, Mr. P? There you go. Mr. Perry, you back? Are you crying? All right. So we're back. What an amazing story to hear The story of Rogeria.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
There you go. Tell us a little bit more about this one. How did it feel to finally hear this story read back to you?
It was sweet. It was sweet. Yeah. Half the time you don't know what she's talking about, you know, but it's so philosophical and charming. I love it.
I love that she also gave honor to all the women that are.
Yeah, I love that too. I love that too. Yeah.
You know.
She gave me a gift after this whole thing was over.
Oh, what did she give you?
She gave me a candle that she'd made with tree bark and around it and colored waxes, and it looks like waves breaking on rocks. I burn it frequently. I was very charmed.
What has the reception been like from the women once they've seen like their portraits? Like
they all loved it. Every single one has loved it. I have not had a single negative. I had one person was iffy about it, and it was I don't know if you won't be showing this portrait, but people can see it.
Yes, you can see this on the website.
Yeah, and it's a woman from Egypt who wanted to be painted as an Egyptian pharaoh, a woman pharaoh.
I love that piece. She was iffy about that one?
Too. I love that piece. Well, I'll tell you, I researched that piece.
Oh, wow. That was a beautiful piece. Yeah.
I looked up the jewelry of their women pharaohs. I looked up the jewelry and the costume of the time and all that stuff. And she thought, oh, it's okay. And it turned out that somehow it embarrassed her, and she didn't want to show it to anybody.
Oh no!
And when everybody saw it, they completely loved it. So then she liked it after that.
Good, yeah. Because I mean, no, that one's really gorgeous, and I it's like hearing yourself speak on a microphone or something for the first time.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And like, do I really look like that, or do I really sound like that? You know, and sometimes it takes other folks to bring out the beauty that everyone else naturally sees. Because some people are just not used to seeing themselves in that way. And it looks like with these portraits, like you have really brought out, you're staying true to what these people look like while also bringing out the beauty within them. So I think the title of Beauty, Strength, and Courage is perfect for this one. So thank you again. These are gorgeous pieces, and Rogeria's piece is also extremely gorgeous. Very nice. All the detail, like in the suspenders, like it's very, very well done.
I remember doing those suspenders.
Yeah, like the hair, everything. Very good job, Mr. P. Very good job. So we have two more pieces. I hope everyone has been enjoying this journey, but like I said, this is not the end of this journey. You will also be able to continue to see these stories on the website, so make sure that you go to Molecule Reform's Beauty, Strength, and Courage website, and you can continue to just stay in tune with us, as well as you can also just watch continue to watch this stream and just hear the rest of these stories. Like, it is 27 amazing stories on this website, so make sure that you go and actually check it out. Give it some strength to listen to these women amazing journey, especially in this political climate where we have so many people having different opinions about what it means to be an immigrant or so, so these are all, no one's just easily making it over here. This is struggle. It takes a lot of strength and courage to leave your home and try to start a new life. So please continue to listen to these women and support this type of work that's being done. So we have the next story. Sabina, tell us a little bit about this one, Mr. Perry.
This was I did the picture, and I was pleased with it. I actually had to send it to her twice because I sent her a picture, and then I realized I had messed up in a couple of ways on it, and so I corrected it and resent it. But I was surprised by her story. She didn't tell me anything about herself when I was, doing the painting. I didn't know anything about her except that she was originally from Slovenia. And that was good for me because I needed somebody I wanted to have a distribution. I wanted to have somebody from Eastern Europe. And so that was good. But her story is really interesting. She is somebody who's really struggled to get where she is.
So without further ado, I think it is time to listen to Sabina's story, read by Jennifer Nookie Pham, who in Chicago, where I currently am, runs an organization called Hi Bayo, and they help people for Argyle bring and promote businesses that are happening for women in Vietnam. Especially in the Vietnam businesses that happens in Argyle. So if you ever get a chance to come back to Chicago, Mr. Perry, we're going to get you some pho, and we'll have you meet Jennifer, who's the person that's reading this story.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, this is the story of Sabina.
Sabina, Slovenia, read by Jennifer Nookie Pham. When I was 14 years old, during the Balkan War in 1991, my family fled Slovenia. We fled to Croatia. I spent nearly 5 years there as a refugee. It was hard. 15 of us were crowded into a 2-bedroom apartment. Food was scarce. I started working to support my mom and my family when I was 16. My mom applied for us to come to the United States. Her sister, in the US, was our sponsor. We got rejected by my mom, but my mom was persistent. She found a lawyer who prepared a letter which my mom sent to Rome. Finally, a response arrived saying that we were to be reunited with our family in St. Louis. We came to St. Louis through the support of the International Institute in 1995. I remember my uncle driving us from the airport and seeing how vast St. Louis was. I was amazed, scared, and excited. So many emotions run through your veins when you experience something this drastic. New continent, new language, family you barely know, cousins whom you've never seen, knew everything. Even the food was different. I had dreams of going to school, but my mother became ill. I was responsible for taking care of her and working to provide for a family. So I completed my GED and applied to St. Louis Community College, where I got my associate degree while working full-time. I spoke broken English, but with support from the International Institute, I got a job within a week in a lamp factory, then a billboard company. My third and final job was at a pharmaceutical company, which is now part of Pfizer Incorporated. I started on the assembly line, then moved to quality control, to engineering technician, to project manager. I have been employed there since 1996. I have battled many curveballs through my life, but I am grateful for every one of them. Those experiences and struggles have made me the person I am today. I have an amazing husband and 2 boys, 13 and 4 years old. Life is always unpredictable and takes you on a different path. If everything in life is easy, there is no room for growth. Struggles in life give us perspective and help us grow. It took many years to get where I am today, but I am proud to be an immigrant and proud to call St. Louis my home. Home is where the family is. Home is not walls, houses, or car. Home is where my boys and husband are. I am grateful for this opportunity to share some of the parts of my life as part of this exhibit. I owe this to my mother, who, despite my being an emotional teenager, dragged me here to create and design my own life the way I see fit. None of this would be possible without her strong encouragement, love, and dedication to bring me a better life. Thank you, my sweet mom. I miss you. I'm extremely happy to be doing this, as this year will mark my 25th year of being in America.
Thank you one more time, man. Make some noise for Sabina's story. I'm going to let Mr. Perry catch up. And remember, you can still read and check out all these stories on the website. How you doing, Mr. P?
Great.
So that was shout outs to Jennifer for reading that story. And all of our readers today. I think we've had some pretty phenomenal readers. Everyone having to meet me on Skype on Zoom and recording. Shout outs also to Free Ride Arts and Literacy, which is the organization that I work for. We have a sound and vision program where we help and teach young people how to set up sound for different shows and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for me having to learn how to do half of these things, we probably wouldn't be able to do this today. So I think this is our third pandemic gallery opening. And we are honored to be here with you today for Beauty, Strength, and Courage. 27 portraits of immigrant women living in St. Louis, Missouri. Mr. Perry, is this at all like? I know we would much rather be in person checking out all these paintings live.
Yeah,
but
and eventually there'll be an opportunity to do so. The paintings are in safe storage, where they're packed in archival materials, so they won't degrade or disintegrate or mold or anything like that. And I'm just going to keep them till I can get a gallery. Well, I've got a gallery, and until things happen in such a way that we can actually have a real gallery show. So it's going to happen. I've got the commitment from the gallery. So the paintings are huge; they're life size. So it should be a nice, gorgeous show when it does happen.
Now you have to redo this one. This was the one that you said you had to redo.
Oh yeah, I had to redo it several times.
How many times did you redo this painting?
Twice. Twice is enough. Twice is a lot of times to redo something.
Very much so. I saw the original, and I do think that this one is better. This one is better than the original.
Yeah, the original, there was something off with the face that I corrected.
Yeah. This was. What would you say was your biggest highlight hearing her story?
The fact that she didn't even get to graduate from high school, and she started on the assembly line, and now she's in an administrative position in this company, and she's just because she works really hard, and she came from having to take care of her whole family with a minimum wage job, and here she is, actually doing really well as an employed person.
I think it's really interesting, especially in a political climate. One thing that usually we hear people say is, well, why don't they just pick themselves up by their bootstraps and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, and that's I think she's done a little bit more than that. She's been more like, people are just sitting here being lazy, not trying to get any work done. Like,
look at her, and then look at Irene, who's, on her way to get a medical degree, and Nemlek, who's, full scholarship, 4-year college. She did George Washington University. I mean, these are people who've worked tremendously hard to get where they are, and they do pick themselves up by their bootstraps. I mean, they do work to get what they want, and they're very. That's what impressed me about all of these women that I worked with. They are so ambitious and motivated and willing to put in the work, and I really admire that. And that's I didn't expect to encounter all this when I started this project. I thought I'd just be painting a bunch of pictures, but I'm learning a lot about these people and also the people who work with them.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, what I have to really give you some kudos for as well is continuing not only to, like, the painting wasn't enough, the paintings then turned into capturing these stories. Then it turned to, let's record these stories. Then it became, let's put this on a website. Now we're doing an actual show. So, it's continuing to take the step further, and who knows what will happen from today. Like, this is just kind of the beginning of it, and it has been a real honor to be a part of this process. We are getting close to our final story, sadly. And the last person that we're going to be introducing today, her name is Elena. Tell us a little bit about the process of this one, Mr. Berry.
Well, Elena was by far the most gorgeous person I ever painted. She was just startlingly beautiful. And her clothes were too. She was, and she's a smart kid. I mean, I didn't know she was doing this. I asked her for pictures. She sent me pictures, and I didn't realize till later, this is her wedding photo. She got me to do her wedding photo for her, not even knowing I was doing it. So she's in this gorgeous Pakistani wedding outfit that is just, it was brutal to paint.
Yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to leave this one last, because I was like, I'm sure he put a lot of work into this one.
I mean, they're all beautiful, but she's like classically beautiful, but her clothes just knocked me out. They were so neat, and the tattoos, not tattoos, the
henna,
the henna on her hands, and all this stuff is just so pretty. And I got a huge kick. I spent a long time on this painting, more than most of the other ones, just trying to get those beads right. And so, it was beautiful. She's a very neat kid too. She's another person who is, her family has got strong support, and they put her through chiropractic college. She has a chiropractic degree. She went to, you'll hear it in the story. She's a remarkable kid.
Yeah. So speaking for this last one, it's a dear friend of mine. Her name is Sultry Sounds, and that's where you can find her. So reading Elena's story, please make a little noise for Sultry.
Strong support.
The story is by Aline of Pakistan and read by Sultry. I was born and raised in Pakistan. I came to the United States at the age of 12 with my parents. We came to live the American dream. My parents invested their whole lifetime in raising me and my brothers, and I'm really thankful to them. I'm also thankful to this country for giving me and my family the opportunity to establish a better life and create for ourselves. I am happily married to an officer of the U.S. Army. I have earned a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University at St. Louis and a doctor of chiropractic degree from Logan College of Chiropractic. I recently went to a refugee camp through the Islamic Medical Association of North America. It was an amazing experience. The refugee stories were absolutely mesmerizing. Most of them had led a stable, comfortable life in Syria, but in the war they lost not only their income homes, but often their loved ones. Many of my patients had to leave their homes in the middle of the night in complete darkness to seek refuge. In a situation like this, it is not just about diagnosing and treating. It also has to do with relating to people on a deeper level. Hearing these stories made me realize how blessed we are to be in a country with democracy.
Shout outs to Sultry Sounds. Reading for Elena. Sorry, Elena. All right, and we're
blessed we are to be in a country with democracy.
And we're back. And that was our last story. Oh my goodness. So, Mr. Perry, tell us a little bit about this one. This was a lot of detail, a lot of work. I mean, even with the background, with the flowers and the trees and the clouds and every detail in like her sari, like it is a lot going on with this one. Tell us a little bit about your process.
Well, I had to figure out how I was going to get how to paint this. I looked at like Baroque paintings of fancy clothes, and I can't do what those guys did. Well, those guys had years to do a painting, but I kind of figure out how to layer up the different layers to get things, because those beads and stuff, they're on a net that is on top of the fabric behind it. And so you have to find the shadows and all that stuff. And it was just really, really interesting. Whatever she's wearing under that red and gold thing is a whole different, it's a silky fabric. And I had to figure out how to get that texture. And also, the bangles on her wrists, there were just lots and lots of little dots. They're just, I didn't use a palette with this. What I did was I used a palette knife, and I picked up the palette knife covered with the color that I wanted to do, and then dotted it and dotted it and dotted it and dotted it. It was just incredibly tedious, but I was surprised how well it worked.
I think it worked pretty well. What was
and the background had to match the figure, and the figure is so complex that I had to have lots of pretty clouds, and I had to have, those are a Pakistani plant. I don't know what kind of plant. I think it's a jasmine of some kind.
Now, was the background in the photo, or was this something you also?
No, the photo was taken in Forest Park.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I made up the background.
Wow, that is a lot of commitment, especially for this particular piece. It is gorgeous. I mean, I really don't have very many words for this one in particular. It was so stunning.
Yeah. Another funny thing was when I was talking to her, her story would have ended with Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Logan College. She didn't tell me anything really important about her life. And I pushed her. Well, I met her personally. This is one of the few ladies I actually met personally. And I kept trying to get her to tell me what was really beautiful and important that she'd experienced. And she told me the story about going to work. She was a doctor. She was a chiropractic doctor. She went and adjusted people's backs and stuff like that in a refugee camp I think the camp was in Jordan, or it might have been in Western Syria. But I've seen pictures of those camps. They're amazing and horrifying. They're all mobile homes, and they stretch on forever, and it's dirt roads, and it's just crazy. But she went to this place just to help, that unpaid basis, volunteer basis. And I thought, gosh, there's more to this kid than ever really lets on.
Yeah.
So,
it's most definitely, like, even from the photo itself, it feels like she has a lot of mystery. And I'm not about to act like I know the true conditions of what it was like for her to grow up where she was, but I mean, I would like to believe that her being able to tell her journey was extremely impactful. It's like giving the small, like, I feel like she's just on the cusp of telling even more. Even in her last statement, hearing these stories made me realize how blessed we are to be in a country with democracy.
Yeah, that hit me too. I love that. That was really
it makes you really think about, like, what did she truly experience at this other, like where she was from, where she's from.
The fact that she, you do have to appreciate living where we live.
Yeah.
We don't have refugee camps. We don't need refugee camps. Well, we might have refugee camps on the southern border, but it's not the rule. And
yeah.
I don't even want to get into that, but
but
still, I appreciate her statement.
Absolutely. And also, just one more time, I want to give it up for Sultry. Sultry is actually an immigrant as well, and I thought it would be pretty fitting to actually have her close us out with a performance as well. She has an album that is out as well. You can check that out, and we will be hearing from Sultry in just a moment. She is performing live for us, and you can check her out under Sultry, SOULTREE Sounds on Instagram. And she was going to be hitting us off with a performance in closing us out for today. And the name of the song that she's going to be closing out with is called Soul Woman. Mr. Perry, go ahead.
I have a question. will there be a way on this program for people to link to the website?
Yes.
I want to see the whole rest of it.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually in the link, and we can also put the website in the description of the bio of this particular event.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way to stay in tune with everything that's going on. The link tree of all the information is still up right now, and we will still be able to send this off to people. So again, we're not gonna leave yet. We will be able to say goodbye to you all in just a moment. But first, we want to hit you off with a performance by Sultry.
Peace, everybody. I'm Sultry. This is Soul Woman. Na 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 na. Yeah. One more time, for the mind, for the mind. One more time, free your mind, the soul of a woman is nothing to be tamed, 'cause the soul of a woman can never, ever be contained. Yes, that's how we survive. Don't need heroes to be saved. We pass on our spirit even beyond the day. We just keep on living inside your head. We ain't going nowhere, in fact we've been here. You just arrived if I am making myself clear. I came cause I always come first. It took a little while to recognize my self-worth. Doesn't matter if I'm lonely, meditating in my bed. You exist is so much better in my head. That's the longest home I've had in 30-some years. Chicago may be cloudy, but my truth is crystal clear. You see, I thought my inner spirit was my inner demons. We're vibrating higher cause we're closer to the sun. Against each other, no one's mean to touch. In a world that's full of hatred, I still love oh so much. Can't deny it, I am tired, but I'm in it till the end. That's the only way to promise that someday we will mend. Yeah, we will mend. Oh yeah. In the end, if you're thirsting for some realness, they call me the hot drunk. Cause I'm flowing without papers and I'm always on the run. You never know who will be tapping on your telephone. Been spending most of my life running away from my home. I have a greater calling and I can't afford to lose. Don't have time to be beaten by men, that's when I had to choose myself above this broken and beaten family tree that pass on their abuses on to the past me. Sometimes I forget her name, I think it's Stephanie. Anxious, depressed, trapped in her own body, just trying to be free. So I rooted myself in a search deep within my soul. Found the Baba line within me, now I'm fighting to be whole. In my methodology, music, movement and intention, and don't believe in dying. Only the highest of assertions, and again we will rise to the skies, because the soul tree of this woman is nothing to be tamed. Cause the soul tree of a woman can never, ever be contained. Yes, that's how we survive. Don't need heroes to Thank you so much. Beauty, Strength, and Courage exhibit by Bill Perry. Thank you for inspiring my spirit and creative sibling, Elokari Elgin Smith, to follow in your path of being an educator and an artist. Thank you for your creations, your 27 creations in reflection of immigrant women in St. Louis, immigrant women like myself and my family. I appreciate the space and the art that lives here, and I send so much love to our continued connection. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more time, everybody. Make a little noise for sultry sounds. How fitting in order to be able to end off this amazing show for today. This has been such a great journey. Mr. Perry, how you doing over there?
I'm fine. I'm doing well, yeah.
We've had a bunch of people to help to make this thing possible, but again, before we cut off, I want to make sure that you all know that there is a whole website of information, and I'll fade and show you guys what it looks like. So right now, if you're seeing my screen, this is the actual full-on website. It has all the stories that we have been talking about today, and you can stay in tune and read all these other stories. There are 27 different amazing stories on this website. We've only got a chance to just share 5 of them with you, but there are so many other stories that need to be read and need to be told. Please say their names. Please read their stories. These women have such great, bold stories to be told. And we only got a chance to see 5. Shout outs to Scarlett, Regina. But go read Dora's story, all right? Go read Chriselle's story. Make sure you go back and reread Sabrina's story. And there are 27 amazing stories on this site. So make sure that you go and check it out. And one more again, please make a little bit of noise for Bill Perry for all the time and dedication put into putting these stories to life. He has spent so much time on this website, just updating it, and there's a bunch of great stories. Here's Iman's story from Egypt, the piece that is gorgeous, you know, so make sure you go read her full story too. It's amazing. Mr. Perry, how are you feeling about today? Is there anyone that we forgot to thank today for being a part of this? More information on this website. What are you feeling?
Well, you know, a lot of people helped with this whole project. All these immigrant service organizations helped. The Regional Arts Commission, which is a St. Louis funding organization for the arts, paid for it. So, yeah, a lot of people did help with this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for everyone that has helped to make this possible. Also, again, if you're interested in reading some of these stories to be featured on the website, feel free to continue to hit us up. Mr. Perry, what is the easiest way for people to stay in contact or in tune with you? And you guys can always reach me under Kari, Kari, the illustrator, ILLUSTRATOR @gmail.com. And that is the easiest way for you to stay in tune with us. Thank you again for being a part of this stream today. This has truly been an amazing experience. But Mr. Perry, how can people stay in tune with you?
Well, they can reach me at moleculefarm@gmail.com.
Again, that is moleculefarm@gmail.com. You want to spell it out for them, Mr. P, just in case?
Yeah. And if they go to the link tree, it will link them to my to the regular art website. I maintain just a site of my art that has some of these pictures on it as samples from the stuff I've done over the last 6 or 7 years. And so they can, all of this information is on that.
And the Molecule Farm website and the link tree also has a direct link to the Molecule Forum website for Beauty, Strength, and Courage. All you have to do is go to the link tree, click on Beauty, Strength, and Courage, and you will find the site to be able to read all of these stories. Yeah, man, this has been really, really great. As well as with these stories, they also have little artist notes on there as well to like see how people are doing today. Mr. Perry, will you continue to be updating this site as well?
Probably not this side, actually. I'm working on other things right now.
Okay, so that means this one is done.
This is done. This is done. Yeah.
So,
I'm working I work for another nonprofit portrait organization where we do portraits of children in orphanages or children under the auspices of orphan service organizations in mostly third world countries, but also in places like Russia and larger countries. And we do portraits of the orphans every year. I and my students, well, I'm not teaching right at the moment, so I'm doing some portraits for that. So that's going to take up my time for a little bit.
Always continuing to work, and your commitment is phenomenal. So one more time for Bill Perry for doing all this amazing work. It has truly been an amazing experience, and also just being able to hear just a few of these stories and listen to people read them out. But please go and check out the website and read the rest of these stories. They are truly, truly great.
The other thing is so this is archived on YouTube, is that correct?
Yes. So
and
actually,
will that link also be on the link tree?
Yes, it will. And thank you so much for everybody that has been checking in. And for everyone that has been viewing this live, as well as on Facebook, YouTube, and also those who probably jumped in on Twitch as well. So shout out to all my Twitch folks at DJ L.O. Kari, which is my DJ name. I'm playing some music while you hear it in the background, you know. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Any final words, Mr. Perry, before we let people go on?
Thank you for looking at this stuff. Thank you for your support.
Oh, no problem. It is an honor. And for those of you all,
Joe's done a huge amount he's done the bulk of the work on this.
No, you've done a big bulk of the work. I've just tried my best to make sure that this is looked as presentable as possible. And for those of you that are out there, if you have a teacher that has helped you out at some point in their life, and being a teacher is a very thankless job, and you don't really expect any one of your students to want to come back or do any work or anything like that. That's not an expectation of a teacher. But when a young person is able to come back and tell you how well they're doing, I think it is your duty as a student to go out there and actually stay in tune with those who have helped pass on that knowledge to you, whether you like it or not. And I really appreciate being a part of this journey with you today. And please continue as human beings to pay it forward for those who have actually struggled and put in that time for you. So again, this has been such a wonderful journey. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please go and check out the website. It is so many more amazing stories. 27 to be exact. 27 stories. So please go
and pictures. There are pictures too.
Pictures and stories. It is amazing. So I'm just scrolling through. You guys are missing out. It looked like Chrisette got some music on here too. So hey,
she still has music on her.
Hey, now
the link will take you to her video she's a professional working musician.
Oh my God. So much more going on this site. Thank you guys again for tuning in. My name is Elgin Bokhari, representing Free Write Arts and Literacy, where we teach visual arts, creative writing, and audio production inside the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center. Also, organizer of PocketCon, one of the co-creators. We have a comic book convention that runs once a year that celebrates characters of color and underrepresented people, which is why we have teamed up with Mr. Perry to make this happen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Any final words, Mr. Perry, before you leave?
No, I think you've said everything that needs to be said, Elgin, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and feel free to skip forward and watch some of these videos. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for checking out Beauty, Strength, and Courage. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.